from?
Well, as you can see, I am merely sitting here and reviewing what we have deduced thus far.
You were gone for ages! And now you're suddenly sitting here musing to yourself? Where have you been anyway? Hey, what's with the silence?
You never think things through before asking questions. I'm giving you some time to make up for that.
Paimon's so mad! Paimon's gonna give you an ugly nickname! Never mind. Paimon's got nothing. There's just nothing super obvious to pick with this guy. It makes it so hard.
Well, you've heard nothing to suggest I left this whole time. So clearly, I stayed in the village to investigate. Anyway, you plan to leave Aru village and keep searching for the truth of this matter, yes?
Yep. We're not gonna find out anything more by staying here, so we thought that we might as well take the search elsewhere. Enough with the silent treatment!
No. I'm just surprised that you decided to team up with him.
Al-Haytham, you haven't helped us out at all ever since we arrived at Aru village. Bold of you to question our choices.
Yeah, you're all talk!
While you were investigating, I had my own work to do, which I've now finished.
Really? Paimon doesn't believe you.
To be honest, we aren't really a team, so I have no obligation to inform you of my whereabouts. Not to mention that going separate ways allowed me to find some important information that you all had missed.
Huh? Right here in the village?
Correct.
What did you learn?
I'm going to take you to someone. But before that, you need to understand where she's coming from.
What does that mean?
How do you think the residents of Aru village feel about what we're doing? In other words, do you truly believe every single word the villagers tell us?
You mean some of them lied to us?
Hiding the truth does not necessarily equate to lying. Again, these people have their reasons. Remember what Candace said? Most people in Aru village don't necessarily care which deity is in charge of Sumeru. That's because whether King Deshret or the Dendro Archon has power is of little significance to them. By contrast, the perils of their daily lives are ever-present concerns. They won't simply share everything they know with you without good reason. That's why you believed there was no further information to be found in this village. Glad you're following along. Among those you have talked to, there's someone who was consciously keeping you out of the loop. In fact, she's been observing your every move since you arrived. The reason being, to someone who only wants to live their life in peace, any external factors introduce unpredictability into the equation.
Those eyes, those fierce eyes. You look like a real fighter.
Don't change the subject.
It's quite obvious that she's intimidated by Sino's authority and strength.
Right. You were asking about the mad scholars.
She corrected herself mid-sentence because she's aware that there are King Deshret fanatics in the village. If she sounds too friendly towards the village keepers, she could easily make herself the radicals' next target.
I think it's been a few days since I last saw them. I usually go to bed pretty early, so I'm not too familiar with what goes on at night.
Remember? She made a point of denying her involvement in anything that occurs at night.
But honestly, I feel quite sympathetic towards them. Even though they act a little strange, they've helped me in the past. If it weren't for them, my house would have collapsed long ago.
After speaking to the village chief, it became clear that the village keepers had protected Aru village at night. In other words, the young miss was very much awake during that time.
Then why would she lie?
By getting involved with an outsider, she risks drawing unwanted attention to herself. As for why she might be so wary about all this, maybe you should ask her.
I'll pass on this one. You said that she is afraid of me. If so, it's best if I stay out of this.
We're on it!
Miss Shawnee, as we discussed earlier, I've brought someone with me.
Mr. Al-Haytham, I'm aware of where you stand, but how can I make sure that your friends think the same as you?
Huh? What do you mean? We need to clarify our stance or something?
Go ahead and talk to her. You'll get the answers you want. Go on. Earn her trust.
Is it really that simple?
May I call you Traveler? Hi, Traveler. I want to ask you something. Do you think the resurrection of King Deshret can truly change Sumeru for the better? Why's that? That's very similar to what Miss Candace says. I know you two are friends. That's why I'm willing to talk to you, even though I do have some reservations. Before, I wouldn't even have the courage to ask something like this. Traveler, do you believe our lives will get better?
Yeah! We came here from another nation, so it isn't wrong of you to be weary. And we aren't really residents of any one nation. But even so, we've met lots of people from different places, and we've always fought for what we believed in. We have friends in Sumeru, and we want to help them. That's why we decided to stay here for a while.
I want to trust you. My apologies for posing my questions like that. To be honest, I didn't expect you to come back for more information.
Oh, Hatham told us you have your reasons. It's okay. We understand.
The fact is that only one side of my family is desert folk. I don't really fit in anywhere in Sumeru. Some believe in the Dendro Archon, while others believe in King Deshret. I don't belong to either side, and neither side would want me.
Speaking of which, the radicals mentioned that they despise traitors. Do they just think that anyone who's different from them is a traitor?
Yeah. Some people can be so narrow-minded when it comes to bloodline and beliefs. It makes no difference what I say or how I behave. I'll always be suspected of having ulterior motives. Slowly, I just stopped talking to people. I pretended not to hear or see anything. All I want is to live my life in peace, and then it happened. The village keepers who had helped me disappeared with no explanation.
You can tell them. I'm sure he'll keep your secret.
All right. I'll tell you what I told Al-Haytham. I actually have a sharper sense of hearing than most. Sometimes, I hear strange crying sounds in the night.
There are ghosts?
Perhaps. I'm not sure. It's faint, but it's definitely the sound of crying. It used to be louder and more frequent. But ever since you arrived in the village, it doesn't seem to happen as often. And when it does, it's much quieter. I have to focus really hard to make it out.
I confirmed this with the guards on night duty. They also have someone with a good ear, and he's heard similar sounds at night. But because we're in the middle of a desert, he would rather believe that they are the cries of beasts than ghosts.
There's really nothing around these parts, except for an old hospital not far from the village.
I think they used to use it for treating Elazar, but it's been abandoned for years.
Yeah, let's go!
To this.
Oh, it's in. Ah! Monsters! Watch out!
Terra Smash! To dust! Smash! Quick! Quick! Terra Smash! Dust! Terra Smash!
They were easier to deal with than Paimon had expected. Super strong bandits? Or monsters taller than buildings dropping out of the sky? Or, something like that. He looks super serious. We gotta stay on our A game too.
This is the one. Let's go in and take a look.
We haven't found squat. Are you sure we aren't wasting our time here?
Patience. Shawnee says she only hears the crying at night. We have time to burn. Until then, I'm taking a break.
And just like that, he sits down. Wait, he even brought a book to read? What are you reading? Let Paimon see.
Okay, sure.
Huh? The natural position, which is the positional propensity of an entity in natural motion in contrast with an object in forced motion? Huh? When free from external influences, every entity displays the tendency to follow its natural trajectory?
So, you got that?
Oh, Paimon gives up. You keep reading your book. See ya! How is he so relaxed? Look at him, reading an impossible book in a creepy place like this. Hey, what good is that gonna do for you? You're acting like one of those annoying grown-ups who go around nagging people to focus on their studies. Hey, what gives? Shouldn't you be the one providing for Paimon? Oh, right. Okay then. Thank you for working so hard and earning so much more. If it weren't for you, Paimon would probably still be floating around in the ocean somewhere. Thank you. Everyone's getting so sleepy. Huh? What was that sound?
There it is. It's coming from that direction.
Is the sound coming from here? Huh. Paimon's not seeing anything.
It's from below.
But there's no way we can get down there.
Something is off about the interior here. As I thought, there's a hidden structure.
Wow. It's like they tucked another hospital into this one. Oh, it looks like there are other mechanisms around here. Let's keep exploring.
Scatter! Propagate! Scatter! Propagate! Scatter! Propagate! Germinate! Propagate! Scatter! Spring forth! Propagate! Propagate! Scatter!
Buckle up!
Scatter! Spring forth!
Hook alive! Gloves off!
Propagate!
Hey! Let's get it on! Just great.
Scatter!
I done messed up. Buckle up!
Propagate!
Off on your own. The desert doesn't take prisoners.
Let's get it on!
Propagate!
Cha! Yeah! Hey! Ah!
Scatter! Propagate! Scatter!
Yeah!
Propagate!
Cha! Look alive!
Scatter!
You're dead meat! Let's get it on!
Germinate! Propagate! Propagate! Yeah! 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 Yeah!
Look! There's someone over there! Good idea. Let's approach him slowly without alarming him.
Wait. You're...
He can't speak, and his eyes are unfocused. But he looks too young to be anyone's grandfather. Also, why is he the only one here?
Didn't expect to see him here.
You know him?
He's Razak, a senior of mine at the academia.
He's a scholar too? Is he the kind that holes up in a forest and mumbles stuff about training?
No. And that's the problem. Razak was never involved in any of those things. He never trained in the forest, let alone reach Satyavada life. Leaving that question aside for the moment, him being here alone means that we might be too late. Looks like they've already taken everyone away. For whatever reason, they left Razak here. Perhaps they simply didn't have time to come back for him. There are drag marks on the ground. They're clearer by the doorway. Someone was forcefully drawing a cart that was loaded with something heavy.
Loaded with people?
That is one possibility. It looks like they were in a hurry, as if they were afraid of being caught. In their haste, they failed to notice Razak hiding in a corner. The symptoms are identical. Looks like we found living proof.
Huh? Why do you say that?
Allow me to jog your memory. Recall your time at Port Ormos. Don't you think his symptoms look familiar?
Oh, now that you mention it, they're acting the same way.
Correct. The academia is behind all of this. It isn't difficult to deduce their rationale. First, the academia spread a false rumor of King Deshret's resurrection, emphasizing the role of the village keepers, the mad scholars who were exiled to Aru village. These rumors were all the persuasion that the radicals needed, and those based in Aru village leapt into action. Unbeknownst to them, of course, through rounding up the scholars, they were actually helping the academia. As well as being able to exploit the radicals for their own ends, this scheme has one further advantage to the academia. All the risks and responsibilities are offloaded onto King Deshret's followers. Life for the desert dwellers has been brutal ever since King Deshret's death all those years ago. Beneath the surface, feelings of desperation are widespread. Many would give everything they have for the prospect of something better. Anyone looking to exploit that for their own ends simply needs to make a few empty promises. Even if complications arise, people will see that those involved are all followers of King Deshret and look for no further explanation than differences of belief. A deep-seated mistrust of the desert and everyone in it by the rest of Sumeru will make sure the notion of an academia plot wouldn't even cross their minds. It may seem like a simple strategy, but it is able to work wonders under Sumeru's current circumstances.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense. It's in line with the village chief's theory, too. But there's still one very important question. Wasn't it the academia that brought the scholars to Aru village in the first place? Why does it want them back now?
Throughout this process, one thing has changed. The scholars' identity. First, they were scholars. Then, they became lunatics. After that, they were exiles. And finally, they become missing persons. An exile is still patently a living, breathing human being. But when someone becomes a missing person, that is brought into question. If you can't find someone, you have no way of knowing what exactly happened to them. That makes missing people an ideal resource.
Resource? For what exactly?
One possibility is that the information in their brains could be extracted into knowledge capsules.
Extracted? You mean canned knowledge comes from people's brains?
With the technology of the Sumeru Academia, it's entirely possible. Perhaps the process caused them great suffering, which is why they cry out in the dead of night when no one is watching them.
So, the human brain... Nope, nah, Paimon doesn't want to think about this.
I'm the Academia scribe, after all. I'm familiar with their projects. Anyway, judging by Razak's state, the contents of a divine knowledge capsule were extracted from his mind. But something went wrong in the process. Or perhaps his curiosity got the better of him, and he used such a capsule for himself.
Paimon's a little confused. Can they just use anyone's brain?
The look on your face tells me you've realized the answer. That's right. To some scholars, gaining knowledge about the gods is their entire life's pursuit. Extracting canned knowledge is just one of the extreme measures they turn to. However, I can't help but wonder, what do they seek to gain from divine knowledge? The Academia is going out of their way to look for forbidden knowledge. But what is their ultimate goal? I've spent quite some time trying to analyze the contents of the divine knowledge capsule, but to no avail. It seems like my way of thinking is too different from theirs.
You mean you're not even slightly interested in getting your hands on this forbidden stuff?
All scholars seek to expand the horizons of knowledge, but I'm not particularly interested in gods, so I don't share their degree of zealotry. Extracting information from people as if they were lifeless objects? If this is the direction of academic progress, then the Academia may as well shut its doors.
Sounds like you're really against all this.
Of course. The Academia's actions run contrary to their rules. Whether it be academics or knowledge, everything has its boundaries. If those lines are crossed, the rules and order that govern everything in the world will be destroyed. This matter needs to be corrected. Just like fixing a typo in a book.
Wait, didn't you step in to help because you felt sympathy for those poor people?
Not to be callous, but no. My criteria are a little more restrictive than that. There is no shortage of suffering in Sumeru, and the same can be said for the rest of Teyvat as well. What do you plan to do about that? Save every last person?
Probably not. Paimon's not sure.
You can say that. Simply put, I don't blindly place my faith into strength or heroism. I do what I want. The divine knowledge capsule is something I want to investigate in full. That doesn't mean I'm willing to take action for the sake of a few strangers.
Paimon's been wanting to say this for a while. There are a lot of bad guys in the Academia, but you're not one of them. You're their weirdo.
You're probably right. Though I must say, I quite enjoy this feeling of being the odd one out. Uniqueness is also an asset, is it not?
Wow, that's a great way to think about it. Paimon's really impressed. If only Miss Shani had a similar mindset, her life would definitely be a lot easier.
I'm just a more likable person than her in general. There's nothing more to it than that. He won't last long if we leave him here. Let's take him with us. We'll work out our next step after we return to Aru Village.
We're back!
You must be tired. You should rest and take some water.
What's the situation?
Who's this?
Unfortunately, somebody who's too young to take on the role of Isak's grandfather. Nevertheless, he's one of the people we're trying to find.
So, at one point in time, the abandoned Elazar Hospital served as the Academia's site for extracting divine cant knowledge.
Yep, pretty much.
Their plan must have been implemented at some point before we arrived at Aru Village, since divine cant knowledge has been in circulation for a while now. Yet, they fled once we were headed to the village, almost as if they knew we were on their trail. Why is that?
Yeah, why is that?
We may have a mole in our midst. One of us could be secretly revealing our whereabouts to the Academia.
Huh? Are our friendships that shallow?
Looks like none of you have realized wherein lies the issue. Sino, you're the reason why they can predict our movements.
Wait, what's that supposed to mean?
Choose your next words very carefully.
It is simply a logical inference. I have my reasons.
So what you're saying is... Sino's the mole. Interesting. And here I thought you were the most suspicious one, Alhaitham, since you were always acting alone.
I know. You have a point. But I realized something as we were returning from the hospital. Sino isn't like any of us.
What are you trying to say?
Do you still remember who you are, General Mahamatra? As a Matra, you are no doubt privy to certain kinds of information. Before you can take action against someone, you are required to have all the facts available, including the less than savory details. Simply put, the Academia has traditionally allowed you access to a wealth of sensitive information. Knowing their modus operandi, wouldn't you expect them to take precautions against you? If you want to raise a vicious wolf, you need to make sure that you can avoid its bite.
The Academia is monitoring me?
It's not that simple. The Academia has eyes all over Sumeru, but they have a special protocol for dealing with you. Every so often comes a Nyagarbaha Day. On this day, the Academia enters new information into the Akasha through knowledge capsules. I remember seeing a thick notebook next to the control panel once. Its contents were all about the General Mahamatra, his activities throughout the day, preferred methods of enacting judgment, everything.
You're saying that the Academia entered my information into the Akasha too? But what's the point in doing that? My actions aren't important enough to be added into the Akasha.
The Akasha is capable of computation. The Akasha's algorithms are entirely capable of predicting your movements using the data entered. When you would depart, the route you would follow, your destination. It knew all of this.
It predicted my every move.
The Academia has been watching you longer than you think. However, the fact that you resigned is proof that their suspicions were well-founded.
So that's how it is. Sino adheres to his principles so strongly that he's actually a thorn in their side. Tenacity of will and steadfast faith are worthless to the Academia. They need scholars who are easily pliable and mindlessly go after anything they can profit from. Sino, don't take it to heart. This just proves how much of a trustworthy ally you are.
They escaped because of me.
Don't blame yourself. It's not like any of us would have known.
I have an idea. If they predicted my movements, then I might be able to guess where they went.
Whoa, you bounced back fast.
There is always an opportunity for safety after danger passes.
Oh, so that's how it is! Paimon gets it now. If the Academia is trying to avoid Sino, then the safest place would be... Yep, that's right!
They'll want to proceed in the direction opposite of where I'm going. I must go.
There's also something I want to investigate.
Let's go, guys! After him! Please, wait! I want to go too!
You want to go too? If so, you have to promise you'll stay safe.
I want to find Grandpa. I promise I'll be careful and not cause any trouble.
Everyone, I leave him in your hands.
Yay! Let's go! Remember to pack some food with you. Paimon feels like we're missing someone, though. So, where do we go from here?
Yes. After leaving the village, we should head straight toward the desert.
I know the desert like the back of my hand.
Is that because you play here a lot?
Yep. One time, Grandpa almost got lost in the desert, but I was the one who brought him back.
There's something here. What's this?
It's buried in the sand. Looks like we'll need to roll up our sleeves and do some work.
And Paimon thought running around everywhere was already enough work. Okay. So, we have to dig it out? Whatever's down there, it looks like it's buried really deep.
These are likely fragments of an academia-developed device, something akin to a headset. Looks like there were more than one village keeper. They must have been escorted this way because there are device fragments scattered around here. Let's split up and search the area. Chances are that we'll find other things nearby.
Is this what we're searching for? It looks kind of scary.
This is definitely a device used to extract divine knowledge.
How did it end up buried in the sand? That can't have been part of the plan. They must have been attacked along the way.
Wait, what?
Grandpa, I hope you're okay.
Don't worry. Your grandpa's gonna be fine.
Razak didn't display any signs of starvation or dehydration, which means that they left fairly recently.
We should be able to catch up.
One more thing. Given that the device had been entirely covered by sand, I believe the attack must have happened prior to the sandstorm.
Let's keep going. They can't have gone far.
Ugh, but running on sand is so tiring.
But you're flying, aren't you, Paimon? Is flying over sand tiring too?
Ugh, of course it is.
Voices. Don't get any closer. They'll notice us.
Dia's talking with the Eremites? Very interesting. Let's listen in.
If you had informed me sooner, there'd be plenty of room for us to...
You're one of us. We would never lie.
Scholars. You don't know as much as I do. Need me to...
I knew it. That's our Dia.
Dia? Why would you? Dia!
Hey, what are you doing?
Huh?
Didn't you say you'd help me find Grandpa? Why are you on their side?
Well, look who's here. Ain't that something?
This complicates things.
You've betrayed Aru Village?
So, this is the great General Mahamatra. Dear, you'd be better off as my assistant than hanging around with this motley crew. Seen for yourself, I have the means and methods, and my ideals are far more admirable than theirs.
I'm not the type that's easily swayed, Raman. You of all people should know that.
Wait, what's going on, Dia? Whose side are you on here?
Shut it, Paimon.
It doesn't matter. Whichever side you pick, nothing can deter us from the grand mission of resurrecting King Deshret. Once our Lord of Old returns to this land, we will have a new beginning.
Face the facts, Raman. It's not gonna happen. You should understand that more than anyone. Have all your years as a merc taught you nothing about placing hopes in a ruler?
I'm a desert dweller and a proud follower of King Deshret. Whether I live by the edge of the sword or in peaceful comfort, my soul will always carry this conviction.
It's not too late yet. The village mad scholars aren't gonna bring King Deshret back to life.
You don't understand, my dear lady. Pursuing our faith is our purpose in life. Even if the chance of success is 1 in a million, we must be willing to give everything we have.
Even if it'll expose you to the academia? Even if they end up disbanding the Eremites? Your Eremites, which you've worked so hard for all these years?
Yes. We've waited a long time for this day to come. The sun and the moon no longer shine here. All you see now is cracks in this desiccated land. But fate has finally dealt me a hand to play against the Academia. With these scholars in our custody, we'll stomp the Academia's forces and fight our way beyond the wall of Samiel.
Ridiculous. Think about it. The Academia controls the entirety of Sumeru. Your powers are negligible in comparison. If you still don't believe me, then try asking these two men. They're also against the Academia, but neither of them are as arrogant as you are.
They look more like pawns of the Academia to me. Why would I listen to anything the people of Greater Lord Rukhadevata have to say? Filthy traitors. Your god abandoned all honor and betrayed King Deshret. We desert dwellers will never trust the likes of you.
It's impossible to communicate with someone so hostile. Perhaps we should.
Do you really believe that by kidnapping the scholars, you'll be able to negotiate with the Academia? These people have no value as bargaining chips. But I could be persuaded to take their place as your next hostage. These scholars were exiled from the Academia. I, on the other hand, am their current scribe, and will be a much greater asset to you.
Wait, you can't be serious.
So, you want to trade places with the hostages, do you?
Precisely. Any wise person would gladly accept my offer.
What are you thinking? What if they decide to kill you instead?
Well, that would be bad luck for me. However, I'd get the chance to observe the scholars, perhaps even find out the truth.
Think you can talk me over with that confident look of yours?
I'm not trying to persuade you. I'm using this as a means of joining forces against the Academia.
You are the scribe. What do you have against the Academia?
Not all desert dwellers believe in King Deshret, and the same applies to the Academia. Why must all knowledge seekers approve of the Academia's way of doing things?
You Academia scum. Every last one of you is nothing but a hypocrite, just like everyone else on the other side of that wall. I've made myself clear enough. I won't listen to another word from the Dendro Archon's people.
Not so fast. I'll hate them. Do you stand by everything you just said?
I never make empty promises.
You know you're making a dangerous decision, right?
I do.
Good. Raman, hear me out. These people are my friends. Maybe you can't take the followers of the Dendro Archon at their word, but what about me? Do you trust me?
We've known each other for years. Of course I do.
In that case, I'm willing to vouch for their honesty with my right arm. Come on, Raman, don't be a coward. If you're serious about taking on the Academia, you need to steel yourself. You can't be afraid.
An arm from the Flame Mane. You've piqued my interest. But what if you refuse to oblige? What should I do then? No one's a fool here, Dia. We're mercs. And mercs don't tend to live long unless they have their wits about them.
You're not wrong, but this is different. I promised my friends that we'd bring back the village keepers together.
Let's do it right here then. Give me your right arm as proof of your resolve.
Don't listen to him! He's not even trying to negotiate! He just wants to make things more difficult!
That's fine.
Are you crazy?
We came here to save lives. One arm for that many people is still a pretty good deal, if you ask me. Raman, I'm holding up my end of the deal here. You'd better not let me down.
Sure. Go ahead and cut off her right arm.
No! Dia! What are you gonna do? Think of something!
You don't have to go this far.
That's not for you to decide.
Do it!
Dia!
Stop!
What's wrong? Can't do it?
Flame Mane, you and I are both desert folk. Cutting off your arm is no different than cutting off my own fingers. Where's the sense in cutting my own kin to pieces? You've shown me that you're serious. Go on now, take your friends and leave. Meet me in the desert at noon tomorrow.
Phew. I was really counting on him not going through with it.
Dia! That was crazy! Have you all lost your minds? What if he'd actually cut your arm off?
Then I just have to hold my claymore with my left arm. Okay, I'm sorry. But sometimes when you're out on a limb, you gotta double down to seal the deal, you know?
Don't ever make a promise like that again. I can deal with the likes of them. If it came down to it, you would not lose to them either.
I don't doubt it, Sino. But this is about more than me and them. There's a lot more where they came from. Even if we got rid of one bunch of radicals, there are others out there. Wiping them out would do more harm than good.
As you wish.
I'm sorry, Dia. I should have stayed put and listened. I should have trusted you.
It's okay. I promised you I'd help find your grandpa, so I'll do whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes? You just might be scholar material.
Huh? Are you serious?
The Eremites once said that I was a lunatic. Perhaps a little madness is essential to be successful in research.
Why does it feel like he's using his praise for me as an excuse to brag about himself? Okay, let's get moving. We should head back to the village and rest up. Today was just a trial run. Noon tomorrow is gonna be the hard part.
You need to watch out for any signs of earthquakes and sandstorms.
You're all here so early.
Looks like we have everyone here. Isak, are you sure you want to come with us?
I'll watch from a safe distance. Dia, I want to be there to bring Grandpa home.
Okay, let's go then.
Dia, wait.
What's the matter?
I heard that you were quite reckless yesterday. No more of that today, understood? Or I'll be very upset with you.
Fine.
They got here before us.
Uh-oh. Is it because Paimon overslept by 5 minutes and held everyone up?
Is everything ready?
Absolutely. Although, you brought fewer people than I imagined.
Bring him over.
Grandpa!
Why is there only one of them?
Raman, I've always thought of you as a man of his word. What's this about?
It's a one-for-one exchange. Sounds fair, don't you think? And let me put it this way. Agreeing to any kind of deal with the Dendro Archon's people is already a huge compromise on my part. Don't you think you've asked?
You stay right there!
think you're doing?
Grandpa!
Don't you see this blade here? You coward! Why are your hands shaking? Wait a second! It's a earthquake!
Paimon's dizzy.
This day's going just great.
What a nuisance.
The sand dune collapsed. I saw an energy field. The village keeper protected us. It glowed green with dendro. Just like you said, it may well have been the remains of Lesser Lord Kusanali's power inside the scholar's body. The Dendro Archon. The present one.
Grandpa? Grandpa? Oh no, he's getting confused again.
Hey, look around you.
Did there used to be a temple here?
It seems that when the sand dune collapsed, it exposed these underground structures. The symbols on the gate belong to King Deshret's civilization. It could have been an underground palace in the distant past.
Oh, a miracle. Praise King Deshret!
What's he doing here? And his men too?
They must have fallen down here with us. Pretty lucky if you ask me. Most of them seem in really bad shape. Except for him. He got off lightly.
Mind your head.
No, this isn't the time for conflict. Our exalted lord has shown us the way to his sacred palace.
He's not actually gonna go in there, is he?
As it happens, I want to take a look inside too.
What are you doing?
Don't you think it's curious? 1 minute, Lesser Lord Kusanali's power protects us from harm, and the next, remnants of King Deshret's civilization appear. 2 major deities are vying to showcase their power to us. It would be a shame not to witness them both.
Paimon thought you weren't interested in gods.
Indeed. In my view, gods are just a higher form of living being. Or creature, you could say. New discoveries are always worth investigating. Whether they have anything to do with gods is neither here nor there.
Raman, what are you gonna do about your men?
I'll just let them lay here. King Deshret will take care of his people. Right now, I'm going inside.
It's full of life here. This defies comprehension. It looked completely desolate from the outside. Yet, it flows with energy inside.
Yeah, and there's so many plants. It's so pretty.
Sir Raman.
Huh? Me?
Do you see another Raman here?
Are you mocking me? What do you mean, sir?
Interpret it however you want. But there's something I'd like to draw your attention to. While this structure is clearly left over from King Deshret's civilization, the energy that flows in here is that of the Dendro Archon.
Whatever you say. It's not like I have a vision.
There's nothing to be angry about. Think of this as an academic journey.
It does seem kinda strange. If that's true, then we might have to explore this whole area to find an explanation.
Take this!
Let's get it on! You asked for it!
Lightning flash!
Flee! Let's get it on! Hear my prayer! Do your worst! Let's get it on! You're dead meat! Look alive! Let's get it on! Buckle up! Ha! Ah! Look alive! Let's get it on!
Lightning flash! Yeah!
Playtime's over. Gloves off. Look alive! Hi! Grant us your blessing.
Thunderclap!
I've done messed up.
Lightning flash! Yeah!
You're exposed.
Take this!
Just great. Let's get it on! Hammer down!
Here!
I have failed. I'm sorry.
Now that's a sight to see. King Deshret's splendor surrounds us.
There's so much vegetation here. It's different than what I expected.
Sure are a lot of plants for a desert.
That's what I call divine providence of King Deshret.
It's getting brighter! Oh, it looks so beautiful!
Wait, what's that?
A load of flowers. And it looks like there's something among them.
These are King Deshret runes.
They left something behind. Yes. It's an elegy written in an ancient script.
What does it say?
Here lies our faithful priest Kasala. His wisdom is a miracle among the people, deserving of high praise and admiration.
You can read ancient King Deshret script?
Of course. Every student needs to master at least 20 languages before they graduate.
He's not serious, right?
There's still something off about this place. The elemental energy here is too concentrated. The scent of life. Is it trying to tell us something?
Is this it?
Analyzing.
There seems to be a hidden message among these skeletal remains. Excellent. There's a device from King Deshret's civilization in this gravesite. I'll transmit the information over and project it for everyone to see.
Isn't sharing knowledge against the Academia's rules?
Yes. However, under the circumstances, I'd prefer you to see this for yourself. You'll understand after watching it.
Civilization is born of knowledge, but so too can knowledge be its demise. A disaster caught us unaware. It was knowledge that did not belong to this world. King Deshret brought this forbidden knowledge into our world, and it quickly spread like a plague. People's minds were filled with crazed whispers. Dark gray scales spread across their bodies. Even the land was stripped of its vigor. Only a desperate, deathly silence remained. Were it not for Greater Lord Rukhadevata from the forests, the damage would have been irreversible. She summoned the priests to build temples and infused into them the divine power of life. The disaster was miraculously tempered, and the embers of our civilization were preserved in Aru village. Alas, the miracle could not last. As long as forbidden knowledge continued to exist, it would forever blight this world. In the end, the proud king of the desert, my eternal lord, chose to sacrifice himself. I have spent my whole life since guarding one of these many temples. But now, my duty is coming to an end. As I close my eyes for the final time, the sight of that noble deity will appear in my vision once more. In helping King Deshret to eradicate forbidden knowledge, she exhausted her strength, and her form became that of a small child. How strange. Now that I think of her, I no longer have any fear of death, for I sense that the spirit of life will abide with me during my eternal sleep. Children of the desert, cling no longer to past grievances, but hold tight to the memory of this act of benevolence.
What was that?
The priest's memories.
No. No, impossible.
Greater Lord Rukhadevata. So the former Dendro Archon and King Deshret were never enemies at all.
But this doesn't make any sense. The Dendro Archon's followers, they're clearly...
Was that the former Dendro Archon? She became so tiny in the end.
You might be distrustful of the Akasha, but there's no reason for you to doubt King Deshret's technology. You've just witnessed his priest's last words.
I've never heard about any of this before. The surviving followers of King Deshret all gathered in Aru village. Our god did not make mistakes. We refused to believe any of the rumors. King Deshret's death, the all but total annihilation of our civilization, it was all Greater Lord Rukhadevata's doing. We saw her as nothing more than a traitor, who stabbed us in the back in our moment of crisis. Just like us humans, fighting, feuding, double-crossing each other to survive in the desert.
You were blinded by your prejudice.
If I hadn't seen this for myself, if I hadn't witnessed his last words with my own eyes, ears, and heart, how could I ever begin to accept this? The truth is so far from what I've always known. Am I really supposed to believe that after all these years, all this time seeking revenge, suddenly now my enemy is my savior?
Raman, that's enough. Give it a rest. You're starting to make a fool of yourself.
Dia, tell me, my Eremites and I, what are we even fighting for?
Hey, how you doing?
I'll live. Thanks. I should probably go. Can't just stay here forever.
What's your next move gonna be?
Oh, I know what you're going to ask. I feel deeply ashamed of everything I've done. You'll get everything you're asking for, but please, give me some time. After everything that's happened here today, somehow I need to explain it to the others.
It's not gonna be easy.
Well, I guess that's for me to deal with. Dia, this is where our camp's located. Make a note of it.
When would be a good time for us to go?
Tomorrow, I'll convince everyone that we're all on the same side. And I'll return every last one of your your village keepers. We'll share our other resources with you too.
You seem to finally understand that our true enemy is the sages.
Yes. The gods never gave up on anyone. It's the people responsible for all this that need to face the consequences of their actions.
That must have been rough, but he seems to have figured things out now.
Raman's no fool. Being the leader of your own faction in the desert is no easy feat. It's too bad he was held back by his belief in King Deshret. But now that that's changed, I guess we have a few more people on our side.
The outcome, at least, is favorable.
We should get going too. Let's head back, have a proper meal, and a nice, long sleep. We'll need all our energy tomorrow. Sino, we're leaving!
Stop yelling.